Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join Bailey and I today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. You know, the sun is shining and it's a low humidity day. It's, you know, those kind of days, it's just a beautiful time to be working out in your vegetable garden. Well, today I wanted to share with you some tips and ideas on how you can direct sow your Kentucky Wonder brown beans in your vegetable garden. So thanks for joining me today. So follow me along and I'm going to show you where I'm going to be direct sowing these beans in my garden. So I'm going to be planting these, or direct sowing these beans right here at the end of where my strawberry patch is. What I have here is a tomato cage, and you turn them upside down. I put a T-post, fence T-post stake up the middle to hold it. And then I put like a 12-inch diameter piece of wiring up on top of the tomato cage, so it extended it up about 6.5 feet. And so at the base of this trellis is where I'm going to be direct sowing these Kentucky Wonder beans. So before we get started, I just thought I would just give you an overview of how the garden down here in my potato patch area, how it's progressing through the summer. And so things have been coming along really nice. My potatoes are doing well. In fact, the red Norlands are almost ready to harvest. My canna lilies, they're growing. They're a couple feet off the ground. You can see some around the purple martin birdhouse there, but those are just going to put forth a beautiful, vibrant red lily this summer. So anyhow, let's get started planting these Kentucky Wonder beans. So before I get started direct sowing these beans, you know, on these packs here, they, you know, behind them, they always give you some helpful information, some tips. And so let's just take a minute here and I'll read these from the package here. So the bean is a Kentucky Wonder Brown. It says, looking for real bean flavor? The Kentucky Wonder bean is just the one. This is a pole bean that will need support from a fence, trellis, or pole. Pole beans produce longer from a single seeding than bush types. Pick pole beans all season. They will continue to produce if you kept picked clean. And so heavy crop and taste will make you wonder why you haven't tried them before. And then, you know, your planting depth, they give you some instruction, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And you know, as the soil gets warmer, you know that I'll probably be planting these at least 1 inch deep. It'll hold the soil moisture in as you plant them, your seeds, a little bit deeper. And then it says thin to 6 inches, and then they require full sun. Most of anything that bears fruit, or, you know, like a bean, or your tomatoes, or your cucumbers, they require 6 to 8 hours of sun. Well, your greens, they can get away with like 4 hours, you know, partial shade. And then maturity for these is 65 days. And so these are nice, easy beans to grow. In fact, beans are one of the easiest things to grow. And this is what they look like there. A nice big bean that you can grab with your fingers. So anyhow, let's get started planting these beans. So I'm going to be growing these beans in my composted leaf mulch amended with topsoil. And so what I'm just going to simply do is take a handful of these beans. And this, you always want to make sure your soil is nice and loose. So I always work it through with my garden fork. And so to aerate the soil, I'm just going to take these and lay these out about 2 inches apart. And then just push them in with my finger at the end. And again, since the soil's nice and loose, they'll go in nice and easy. And then at first too, you might want to help train these up the trellis. But growing beans is one of the easiest things to do. It's not anything that's difficult to do. And so I have about a good dozen beans out there on the soil, and then I'm just going to go through and push them down in with my finger. As simple as that. And then you always, of course, want to make sure you keep these well watered. I can't emphasize that enough, especially during the germination period. And so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have about 14 beans planted there. I'll thin them out once they come up, but I always like to overseed my beans. Or mostly anything I plant, I overseed in case some don't germinate. And so now I'm going to just take my watering can and water these in. And these should be in, start popping their heads out of the soil anywhere from 5 to 10 days, 7 to 10 days, something like that. Especially since the soil's warming up, these seeds will germinate a lot quicker. And so, again, you want to remember to keep these beans well watered. So anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining Bailey and I today out here in the vegetable garden, direct sowing these Kentucky Wonder Beans in the garden. And so let me encourage you to think about starting your own garden. It's if you were to begin, I would always encourage you to start small and build off of your successes. Maybe start with like a 4 foot by 8 foot. Either use a raised bed or just take the soil out in your garden or your yard and amend that with some peat moss or some compost. And then, or if you just have a patio or, a back deck, you could also container gardening. Most of what you plant in your soil, you can also plant in containers. And so that's always also another great way for beginners to start. And so, anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining us today, and hope you have a wonderful day. And also, if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And you can also visit our website at plantsmartliving.com. So I hope you have a wonderful day. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.